So, hello everyone and welcome to Exactly Nuclear channel, and today we are going to see about classes and objects. Basically, we are going to see the backend and the intuition behind what are the object and the classes, what are the main difference between them, and how to basically utilize them gently. So, without wasting any time, let us jump to the part. So, we are going to see why actually we have seen that why the classes exist and what are the classes and everything. But let's now I know you must be wondering that okay, but how do classes and object actually works? So in this video, we are just going to see that how a class and object works. So the last time, what we have seen is we have created a class with the name student, and we have given it different behaviors, mainly one behavior to display the student information. So now what we are going to do is, first of all, let us say what a class truly is. Okay, so the class is nothing but just a blueprint. What a blueprint is? A blueprint is more of like a template, you can say, or a design. Basically, here, if we are talking about this particular example where the we have a class name with a student, so here it defines that. So here, let me just put also the comments too. Here, this student class defines what a student should have as its properties. So this is what it actually defines. Basically, it defines that okay, let's say we are creating a student that then what are the main properties that a student can have, and the properties that we define are basically lies here. Okay, the minimum amount of you can say, or you can say the basic level of information that any student can have is their name and their marks. So that's why I am saying that a class is nothing but like a you can say blueprint, template, architecture or design, anything you found you can say easy to understand. You can think of it like this. Now let us see what an object is. So as you know, the class is a blueprint. Now what is an object? Object is the real you can say a real instance, or you can say real you can say physical value, or in the terms of you can say computer, class is the plan and the object is the real thing. That means here objects, or rather than here, objects are the things that are created using the blueprint. And here we know that what blueprint here is, that here blueprint is nothing but just the. So with that we can say that okay, we have created a blueprint with a blueprint named student, and this blueprint defines that okay, a student should have a name and marks with it, and also this you can say data, or you can say this mainly this instance that we have created. S1 is the instance, S2 is the instance, should have some you can say typical behavior associated with them, and the behavior that we are talking about is nothing but the functions that are defined inside the class. So with this we can say that okay, what a function is and what are the other things. And also there are three different type of basically variables and functions we have global functions, we have local scope functions, then we have uh, Yeah, mainly there are two type of function actually. Global are actually by name, you can understand that global functions are the functions that can be, you can say that can be called or callable anywhere in the file. Okay, so this is what a global function is or function are. Now, what is a local function is? Now, local function or maybe local functions pair to variables are those which are defined inside a class or a function only. So basically, why I'm telling you that you will get to know later, but for now, just think that okay, and need dot to access them in case of class or can only be called inside function only. So these are the two type of you can say functions and variable. Basically, global and local scope variables or functions. And the definition made it clear that okay, if I define a function outside this class, we can access it throughout this whole you can say the code file. While um, let's say we have an example here already present, and we created a function display. Of course, this is present in this file, but we can't call this display function outside of this let's say class. That means when we try to call this function, it will always throw an error, right? So this is what a local variable is. This is more like a local function is. So the class actually depicts some particular behaviors, and those behaviors are function, I say, right? Now those functions are nothing but just the local scope functions that can be used inside the class. As and if we want to use outside of the class, we have to first create an instance and then put a dot, then call the function. So these are the type of the you can say different type of functions and the scopes of the variables and as well as some you can say functions. So these are all the functions that I will say. Now, I believe the other thing that we need to see here, okay, what we were talking about is the object. So here, S1 and S2 are different students, right? And the class is the plan which these two S1 and S2 data point follows. So you must keep that in mind always. Now, there is a you can say the concept that most of the time everyone misses or ignores, and that is how the functions or object actual behavior behaves at the backend. Now, when I try to run this code, as you can see, you get a specific you can say string here for different students, and you can see there is a clear difference between those two strings, or you can say two you can say coding here code here, and these code represent nothing but just the location at the memory. Yeah, that's the location at the memory. That means it clearly shows us that what even if these both S1 and S2 students are created using this class student, but still they are independent object, and they have independent memory location, and as well as they are stored in such a way that they are not affecting each other in any way possible. So this is what, or you can say this is how any instance or any object is stored in the memory. So I hope you get the understanding that okay, the class is nothing but just a map, or you can say the blueprint, right? And the blueprint, and while following this blueprint, we created some objects, and these objects are nothing but just the real things, or you can say the real data that we are creating here. So this is what happens at the backend. Now, now there is one thing that how we can access the data of the objects. So data here are nothing but just you can say the different attributes that we have passed in the students. So here, if I have to say that okay, I want the S1 to give us the name, right, and marks. So what we are doing is we are using the dot operator here, and then putting the particular you can say particular attributes, and then we get the attribute name, or you can say that attribute output. So here you can see that we get the particular output here, and the attributes are printed in the way that these are the way that are written in it. So we have actually seen the these attribute. Now what I'm trying to say, okay, I want to add a method again, and of course this function is what they call a method, right? Now let's say if I want to create a method greet, right, and in this greet function, what we are going to pass is this self statement, and this self statement is going to do what it is going to return, or rather than returning, I am going to print nothing but just the greetings that hello, uh, well, I am, and here we are going to put the self dot name, right? Basically what we are doing is we are essentially creating a function, or you can say a method that basically greets the user. So what we are going to do is we are going to call this method by putting a dot operator, and then calling the greet method, and in a similar way we are just going to greet using the second method, and then rerun, and as you can see we get our greetings, and here the name actually automatically passes to the method, and we get the output. So with this I hope this you can say you can clear. So object are nothing but you can say object use the class behavior, and the behavior are here is that greet and as well as the display function. Now there is also some confusion that some of you can say few learners, or you can say someone who is learning for the first time have, like okay, if what is a class then? The class is not an object, right? It should be clear in your mind that class is not the object, and as well as object are not the shared copy of each other. That means they are independent from each other, and also the one thing that you need to keep in mind that object is what created using the class. and that thing is what we sometimes say instances. Okay, so this is something that you should keep in mind. And to summarize it, and I am going to say the class defines the structure. Object is the actual data that is based on the class, and when we implement these classes and objects, we can make a scalable program, or you can say we can create some application that are scalable for future. Because of course, if you need to do some changes, you can directly go to the class. Basically, here you can see before the class was nothing but just a init function as well as this display function, but now the same class can be updated using the grid function, and this makes our code actually scalable. And let's say if we have hundred of students that we are basically creating here, we don't have to manually type everything. That okay, now what I want to do is I want to create every user, and I am going to print every statement after the variable initialization and assignment. So this kind of thing is actually what makes your program scalable. So in the upcoming video, we are of course going to see the more detailed breakdown of what an init object is, and as well as what an object lifecycle is, what are the magic methods, instance versus class variables built in, and everything basically we are going to see. And of course, if there is any kind of a doubt regarding this global and local variable or functions, we are going to see that in our different, or you can say clearly a different video for that if you want. So with that in mind, let's meet in the upcoming videos where we are going to discuss on the concepts. So with that, thank you for watching this video, and let's meet in next video.